Life is a journey, and through this journey, we come across all challenges. These challenges makes us better human beings. We live for the pleasure of serving others and feeling the guidance of the Creator. Join us and explore the opportunities to overcome your difficulties this Ramadan, here on the Nation Station.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. In the name of Allah, most gracious, most merciful. All praise be to Allah, the Master of the Day of Judgment, and peace and blessings be upon our beloved Messenger Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. From me, Hatem al-Absalam, and my colleague Ahmed al-Muta'ani. Assalamu alaikum, Ahmed.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah.
How are you today?
I'm doing great. A little bit under the weather.
Inshallah, I hope you feel better soon, inshallah.
Thank you.
But you're not excused from doing this show.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. Welcome to your program, Life as It Is. Today is, I think, the 5th day of the program, if I'm not mistaken.
Correct.
And today we have a very important topic, and Ahmed is our man for this topic. The topic of today is implementing what we learn in school. So, Ahmed, why did we choose this topic in the first place? How did this idea come?
Well, I don't know. You trapped me with that topic. No, we when we were talking about selection of the topics, we were trying to target all the domains, like educational, psychological, economic, name it, So we thought that we should talk about something related to education. And since we're talking about issues related to life, we thought, we should shed light on the education system here in Oman and how can we work together in order to improve the situation here in Oman.
And also because education is a very important, vital part of our lives.
Correct.
Yeah, education and health. So that's why we said we have to have a dedicated program discussing the issues of education. Now, there's a very big trend in terms of the education system quality.
Correct.
Yeah. Since the times when it started in the 70s or even before that until now. And the outcome of the education system is different.
Correct.
Yeah, the old generation and the new generation. So there's a very big debate between all generations about what was the best time when the education was at its peak. Yeah.
Yes.
And at the same time, people today, some of them are talking about why are we studying lots of things in school that we can't implement in our lives,
Correct.
in our careers. So should we go through that cycle of learning all these things in school that maybe they are not really relevant when we go to the workforce? So today, inshallah, we'll try and find out more about this topic, and we have also to invite our listeners. They can call us on 24602058. That's 24602058, and let us kick off.
Yes. Since you were talking about the idea of comparing between the past and now, and the idea whether what kind of things we should learn when it comes to combining what we learn and what is needed in the market. Okay, I would say we should stop thinking this way because people are talking about the idea of being specialized in one area, which is a good thing. But at the same time, you need to be knowledgeable about a lot of things happening around you. Okay, you cannot just say I'm specializing in economics. Okay, so I have to stick to that. You need to have a bit of everything so that you can cope with the changes happening around you. And we live in a global society where everything is connected.
Yes.
So you cannot separate yourself, from things happening around you. So this concept of just specializing in one area, which is also needed. I'm not saying that we should not, be a specialist in one area. But at the same time, we need also to get ourselves acquainted with a lot of things, happening around us. I always talk to my students, that we should, learn about things which are concerning us.
Yes.
Like last time we were talking about in one of the classes we were talking about politics, we were talking about economics, we were talking about so many things. And one of my students were asking me, okay, why, teacher, we're talking about this? I said, you need to know about this. And actually nowadays, a lot of employers will look into somebody who's familiar with a lot of things.
Yes.
Because they need to see somebody who is knowledgeable, somebody who can cope with the changes happening around that person.
And has general knowledge of
exactly.
almost everything.
It will be difficult to get yourself familiarized, with everything. But I'm saying at least, when it comes to the basics of everything is a very required thing nowadays.
And maybe, Ahmed, maybe people forgot the value of knowledge. Mm-hmm. Yeah. In the past, people used to learn because of the value of the knowledge. Yeah, correct. It was a very important thing mm-hmm. in life. More than the wealth that you acquire is having knowledge. But nowadays, maybe people are moving towards, some of them, not
yes.
all of them,
mm-hmm.
towards I'm gaining this knowledge to get a better job.
Correct.
Or to get a scholarship, or to improve my status in the society. So maybe the reasons now have changed for seeking knowledge.
Yeah, definitely. People now, as you said, one reason is that it's a tool to get a job, a better job, supposedly. Okay, so, and some people also look at education as a way to just to have, kind of a prestige in the society. The more qualifications that you have,
yes,
okay, the more you're perceived, by a lot of people around you. So if you're a master degree holder, people will value you more,
mm-hmm.
okay? Also, if you have a PhD degree, you will be also perceived as, somebody who's knowledgeable and so on. And that respect level will increase according to the number of qualifications and degrees. But we need to talk about, first of all, what do we mean by knowledge? Or what do we mean by education? Okay.
Yes.
Are we talking about only a piece of paper that, people will get at the end of their study, or are we talking about real knowledge or real education that transforms people lives, okay, from a worse situation to a better situation? So we need to really clarify all these misconceptions, okay, and then we'll have a very productive society
mm-hmm.
who value the importance of education rather than just valuing, pieces of papers. Okay.
And also we come to another segment of the society that prefer the shortcuts.
Yes.
Yeah. So they are more prone to learning what is important. Okay. What will help me in life, and that's it. Anything extra, I'm not really keen to that. Yeah. So what can we say about that segment of people?
Well, you need to do that. Let's say if you have to do a certain job, you need to learn how to do that things, and you need to read about it. You need to educate yourself about things. But at the same time, as I said at the beginning, you cannot separate yourself from things happening around you. And in fact, if you do so, you will be left out. Okay, you will be always behind. And in order to cope with the changes, as I said before, that happening around you, you need to, expand your horizons. Okay, and this is the way to advance. In a lot of advanced societies, okay, you find people who have different knowledge areas or domains are the people who are successful in life. Okay,
yes,
because
yes.
this is how you rate success in life. Okay, how much contribution you can give to the society. It's not about you. Okay, you cannot live by yourself. You need to, the first program that we had before, they were talking about the art of giving, okay, Reem and Ali. And I think...
Let's connect.
Yeah, let's connect. Okay, they were talking about the idea of giving, okay, and in order to give, you need to be knowledgeable in terms of knowledge and so on. So there is a lot of work to be done when it comes to transforming all these ideologies that we have about just focusing on one thing and not, being able to connect, between the other dots.
I think, Ahmed, focusing on one area can come later on in life. But as at the beginning of your learning cycle, which is the elementary or KG or primary, I think it's very important to have the taste of everything.
Correct.
Yeah, to learn all the different sciences in life. And then when you grow a little bit older, you'll be able to make out what areas you want to learn more.
Yes, absolutely correct. When it comes to the idea of being exposed, and this is one thing that we need to talk about. Okay, when should we expose, our kids to the idea of education.
Yes.
Because there is a myth, actually, or misconception, I would call it, that there is a certain age where people have to learn, okay, or they have to start learning. Actually, and most of our Middle Eastern societies, they think that, the learning or the learning age is after 8 or 7 and so on. But actually, a lot of studies, findings prove to say that the earlier, the better, for the kids. And this is why, they put a lot of emphasis in preschool education. Because it's the time where, since our kids don't have any kind of restrictions, they're very creative, they're imaginative, they can do a lot of things, and as a result, you need to make use of that stage instead of just making them just have fun and play, and also the idea of underestimating their abilities and so on.
And I think Ahmed, it's only to the parents, they think that maybe at the age of 7,
yes,
the child can start learning. But actually, it's not in our hands.
Yeah.
The child starts learning from the day he is born or she is born, because they look around them and they adopt to the environment. Yeah, that's how they learn how to speak.
Exactly.
That's how they learn how to walk. That's how they learn how to imitate.
Yes.
Yeah. So all these things are learning.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whether the parents are aware of this or not, the child is learning.
But at the same time, you're absolutely right. But at the same time, we need to create the right environment for learning. And instead of just making the student or the kid, learn from the surroundings, which could make him, sometimes make wrong choices, which is not a bad idea too.
Yes.
But what I'm saying is that at least you need to help your kid, or a student maybe at early stages, to really discover the world around him, by providing him with a very educational environment where he can improve, he can develop his skills and so on. But we don't have that. We just assume that they are too young to learn. We underestimate their abilities. I have a friend actually who has a kid who is like in his first months, not even completing 1 year. And the way he talks, he's American, the way he talks to his kid, you just feel that he's talking to an adult.
Mashallah.
And he's saying that they understand, what you're talking to them, but they don't have the articulation system to respond to these kind of messages and so on. So it's not a wrong idea to talk to your kids from early stages and trying to talk to them about, their dreams, their ambitions in life, and try to provide the right environment for them to learn.
For those who have joined us just now, the topic of today is implementing what we learn in school, and with me, your host Hatem Al-Absalam, with my colleague Ahmed Al-Matani. And Ahmed is in the education system. He is a lecturer in one of the private colleges, so he's the right man for the topic today.
I'm not sure about that, but
Ahmed, if we continue, there is a big debate between parents and schools.
Correct.
That the role of educating is with the school. Yeah, and some of the parents, some of the schools say no, it's with the parents, and some of the people say for both. Yeah. So what is the right approach, Ahmed? Is it one of them or both of them?
Absolutely both.
Before you respond to that, I think we have our first call. Assalamu alaikum.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi. How are you?
Fine. My name is Dr. Frank, and I would like to make a comment to your program.
Yes, Dr. Frank.
I've been listening for a while now.
And
I would like to make a comment about education, number one, and about habits of human beings.
Yes, that will be very fruitful. Come on, please share.
Can I talk now?
Yes, you can. Yes, you can. You're on air.
What I wanted to say is that all the sort of fashionable things come and go, right? I mean, that's what happens to education.
Yes.
But I believe that most of the things that a man learns, some of them are special, some of them are general. And the general aspect of learning is called common sense, right?
Yes.
And the common sense is something that is really needed in a daily human life. It doesn't matter what you do, whether you're a doctor or an engineer, you need common sense.
You're absolutely right.
And what happened that in last century, or not in 19th century, There was a guy who established a rule called 80-20. And what it means basically that in any activity, it doesn't matter what you do, 20% is the special stuff,
yes,
and 80% is common sense.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why the common sense is so important.
Great. And you absolutely...
The second issue is about human being and about being... Human being is a habitual creature.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? What happens is that most of the things you do in life, you learn during the first 5, 6, 7 years of life. And there are some aspects of this which people don't understand. First of all, the sooner you learn something, the more indelible it becomes.
Correct.
You know what I mean by that,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yes.
You learn something when you're 3 years of age, it will stay with you forever.
Correct.
And the important point is that applies to good or bad. You know what I mean?
Correct.
So what happens is if you learn something good, great. But if you learn something bad, it stays with you for the rest of your life. Because
Yeah, you're in trouble.
to change habits, as you probably appreciate it,
Mm-hmm.
is very, very difficult. And that's the reason why cultures change so slowly. You know, if you look at the last 300-400 years, not much has changed really in culture.
Correct.
And the reason for that is what I just said, that the culture or the habits are transmitted during the first few years of life.
Absolutely correct.
That's all I wanted to say.
Thank you very much, Dr. Frank. Dr. Frank, have you had experience in education? Even with your kids? Do you have kids?
I'm a pediatrician. I've been teaching
Pediatrician,
a lot.
okay.
I've been here for 25 years.
MashaAllah, MashaAllah.
And I've been teaching young doctors, young graduates from the medical school. And I've been doing that in Canada. So, yes, I've been involved in teaching a great deal.
Dr. Frank, what do you think of the current education system? The graduates are coming from the education system at the moment. Do you think that they have both the special and the general knowledge that you just spoke about?
This is a topic. But to cut the long story short,
yeah,
I think that there is a large space for improvement.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that there is, I met a lot of young Omanis from the medical school, from other faculties at the university.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to tell you that the young Omani people, they have a lot of common sense. They are very bright. And
Yes.
They are fired up to work.
Yes.
But what happens after that is a different story.
Thank you so much, Dr. Frank, for sharing. And please.
You know what I mean, I guess.
Yeah. We got you. Thank you for sharing, Dr. Frank, and please continue following our program. We're honored to have your call.
Thank you very much, and I wish you all the best.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, I just want to elaborate on what Dr. Frank was talking about. The idea of introducing, education at early stages is a very important, thing. And I guess, he is absolutely right when it comes to the earlier, the better, for the kid, to get exposed to education and so on. And we need to stop, thinking that, they don't know anything, okay, they are too young to learn and so on. This has to change because they have a golden stage that has to be utilized effectively. Yes. It doesn't mean that, you have to kill the nature of their childhood, but at the same time, you need to develop them, even indirectly.
Yes.
You need to watch them, you need to talk to them, you need to see what they're interested in, and accordingly you develop, a strategy, okay, for them to shine and become, even scientists maybe, or, talented people in one of the areas.
I would like to add one more element to the ones Dr. Frank has added. He said the special knowledge and the general knowledge, which is common sense. But the special knowledge is like things like math and science and the other things. I would like to add one more, which really contributes to molding the personality of the child, which is morals and ethics and values.
Correct.
Yeah, that can be also part of education, which has nothing to do with these two.
Yes.
Yeah, so it has to be taught through parents, through the society, and maybe even school. So that is also very, very important. Because if you grow up having both these skills, the special and the general, but you don't have the third skill, which is the values, the ethics, then you would cause damage to yourself and others as well.
Absolutely, yeah.
And we want to create good citizens, people who have the combination of the three.
Correct. And, this is why, the importance of religion or teachings in any religion, would play a role because they filter what is right and what is wrong.
Yes.
And there are a lot of invitations actually in all religions, I would say, and one of them is Islam, to invite, to call, for that call for seeking knowledge.
Yes.
Okay, and encourage people to seek knowledge till the last moment of their lives. And this is by itself, can come only from what ethics and values and so on, as you said. So we need to really value, the ethics and the morals in our societies, so that we have very productive, I would say, morally productive citizens.
As a child, Ahmed, what is your preference? To receive the knowledge from a total stranger, like the teacher, or to receive the knowledge from a close relative, like your parents?
Well, I think, it depends actually. But, for me, I would say it doesn't matter as long as it doesn't harm me. Okay. Of course, I'll feel more comfortable, talking to my parents. I can ask them, like 20 times.
Yes.
Or 30 times. Okay. And I will not feel frustrated or bothered, by, asking the other person, about the same question. But at the same time, okay, if I can get that piece of knowledge from another person, why not?
Yes.
As long as that piece of knowledge can help me improve and develop in life.
No, I mean, is there an advantage from learning from your parents? Like you'll get also the love and the passion and the warmth, when you're learning from your parents? Is that the case?
Well, there are some parents who are very busy, and they don't have time for their kids. So, I mean, we cannot generalize, okay? We cannot say that this will work all the time with every kid. But definitely, when you're surrounded by your parents, you will have to be loved and supported and so on. But unfortunately, nowadays, we have seen a new trend of life. Okay, parents are very busy. They don't have time. And as you said, they always assume that this is the responsibility of the school.
There is a new trend of schools, Ahmed, is that when they take the burden away from the parents. So the kids get to spend more hours at school, and they finish their homework at school. When they come home, they're free to play. So the parents don't have that burden to check their homework or to study with them. Everything is done in school. Are you in favor of this, Ahmed, or
even
you
if
think
even if we have this kind of system in some of the schools,
yes,
it does not still justify the fact parents have to be involved. Okay, I mean, even if the students or kids come to the house without having any homework to be done at home, I still need to talk to my kid. Okay, what have you learned today? Okay, I need to develop that kind of dialogue and interaction between me and my kid. I want to know what he is learning in the school. Is it something good? Is it something bad? Okay, so this does not justify the fact, we are still have to do more work.
Apparently, for parents, the homework is the nightmare. So if the kid doesn't come with homework, and I would say that some parents think that being with the child doing the homework is actually learning and studying. But doing homework is just for the child to practice. But studying comes later on. When you discuss what you have learned in school. So like if the child has something to do with writing, they will just copy. They will just do what they are told to do. And then the explanation part, the discussion part, the question and answer part comes later. Where the parents, as you said, rightfully, they will ask the child, what have you learned today? What is the new information that you got today? For example, I ask my daughter every single day when she comes back from school, before even taking off her shoes, I ask her, what have you done today? What have you learned? How many questions did you ask today? And in the first few times, she thought that, why should I ask questions? So in discussion, me and her, I would ask her, what does this word mean? And she would say, I don't know. And then I ask her, then why didn't you ask the teacher if you don't know? If you don't know anything in class, ask as many questions as you can. You are there to learn. Don't come back home not knowing things that you have learned in class.
And very interesting, Hatem, and this is a great strategy actually that every parent, should adopt. And when it comes to the idea of skills, okay, we might be exposed to a lot of knowledge, when we go to school.
Yes.
But also we might lack a lot of skills. And what I mean by skills, the ability to think, the ability to question, the ability to answer even questions, the ability to communicate, your ideas to other people around you. These are all the skills need to be developed. And sometimes what we tend to do in most of the schools, and I don't want to generalize, but at least, in my experience when I was a kid, okay, when I was in elementary school, we were having this kind of dictatorship, approach. The teacher will lecture the whole time, and you have to receive the knowledge, and you have to listen to the teacher, and then absolutely, you'll have to memorize everything. And, when it comes to the other skills, you don't have a chance to develop these skills, which are absolutely and heavily needed in the market nowadays.
Okay, Ahmed, we'll take a short break and continue after that, but we would like to remind our listeners that they can join in with their calls. Our numbers are 24602058. That's 24602058.
When I'm planning a business, I need an experienced advisor.
When I'm expanding operations, I require integrated solutions.
When I'm faced with challenges, I need someone I can rely on.
At Bank Sohar, our journey towards service excellence begins with you. We are committed to a customer-focused approach for realizing the challenges of small and medium businesses, marking your journey with remarkable milestones. Make a difference to your banking experience with Bank Sohar. Call 24730000 today.
Let us take you on a spiritual journey through our voice this Ramadan.
Dear listeners, welcome back to your program Life as It Is with me, Hatem Al-Absalam, and Brother Ahmed Al-Mutani. So Ahmed, we were talking about our children, the connection that we have with them, and whether we should continue with them after doing the homework. Whether we should continue delivering the value. Now there is something very important, Ahmed, is that, for example, if your child moves from grade 1 to grade 2, okay, when they are in grade 2, do I go back and talk to them about things that happen in grade 1? And so that the information can be continuous. They should be a link between one grade and the other.
So do you want to talk about reality, or you want to talk about what's supposed to be done?
Both. Start with the reality.
Reality is that we have this divorce approach. Like we divorce everything we learn by the end of the exams.
We actually get rid of the books.
Exactly. And if you go, like, I don't know if this practice is still around, but I remember, we used to see a lot of books thrown away.
Yes.
Okay, during the summertime.
Yes.
So if you go to, places where people go and throw garbages, you find a lot of books are thrown away. Okay, because people think that this is the end of it. Okay, I passed. Okay, now I'm moving to the next level, so I should forget about everything. So they have a delete button, like immediately or automatically, works after the final exams or after the results. If I pass, that's it. Okay. So this is the reality, unfortunately. And I don't want to generalize, but from my experience, I've seen a lot of parents who also involved in this kind of action or activity.
Getting rid of the books.
Yeah. They say, oh, you know what? We have a lot of books here. We don't have a place to store them. We need to get rid of them and so on. Well, if we don't want to keep the books, at least, we should keep notes. The notes that the students or the kids, have, throughout the year. So... And then now we talk about, the idea what's supposed to be done. Yes. What's supposed to be done actually is we need to create a link between what we learned before, okay, and what is learned now. And in this way, you accumulate, a certain level of knowledge, okay? And also you teach your kids indirectly that things are connected, okay? Because
and things are important.
Things are important.
Yeah.
And whatever you go get from school is a very important thing, and it should be valued, okay? And the effort that the teacher has put into this materials in order to educate you has to be appreciated.
But how many of us, Ahmed, ask our children when they come back from their exams? Most of us say, how did the exam go?
Yes.
Was it easy? Was it difficult? Okay, do you think you're going to pass or not?
Yes.
Yeah? But how many do ask their children, okay, what questions were there in the exam? How did you respond to these questions?
Correct.
What did you learn from these questions? Yeah? So it's like going back and firming the knowledge that they got through the exams. So maybe even for parents, the most important thing is that my kid is an A student. They passed, that's it. But what is after that? Yeah. So the 3 months that they have for summer holidays, when they come back, they've erased almost this year and last year's information.
And it's sad.
Yeah.
You know, like, can you just imagine how much information that kid, you know, has learned throughout these years can be lost in seconds. And I guess, you know, this is a mutual responsibility, the school responsibility and the family responsibility. What I mean is, if we, as educators and parents, connect between what is taught in a school with real life, then everybody will value what he or she is learning.
We just want to remind our listeners, Ahmed, that both of us are not perfectionists.
Yes.
Yeah, we are not the perfect example
Correct.
for this, but we are reminding ourselves, and we're here to learn.
Correct.
Yeah, so we are discussing so that we could know where did we go wrong.
Yes.
What are the gaps that we forgot to fill?
Yes,
Yeah.
and actually this is like a platform for everybody. Actually, I work in a college, and I'd love to hear your feedback and comments so that we can take these feedback and comments, you know, to the field and try to improve the quality of education in our institutions and in this country. And since we were talking about the idea of connecting what we learn with real life,
Yes.
Unfortunately, you know, like a lot of teachers, and I blame the teachers, okay, in this, most of the teachers, I would say, they would think that the knowledge they're trying to preach to the kids, it's all about, you know, passing the test. So they teach for the test, okay, but actually this is the wrong approach.
This is when the profession of teaching becomes a job.
Exactly. It becomes a routine.
Yeah.
Okay, you know, passing knowledge to people, you test them by the end of the semester, they pass, end of the story.
I don't know, Ahmed, if you witnessed this in the past when you were in school, that you'd have certain teachers who are like role models to you.
Correct.
Yeah, they impact your personality, they impact your life. Even when you have worries that are not related to your school studies, they would be there to listen to you.
Correct.
And give you advice and guide you. So that is the role of the teacher.
Yes.
Yeah? You're not only there to deliver what is set by the ministry and then leave.
Yeah, it absolutely correct. You know, we have a lot of teachers that we'll remember for the rest of our lives.
Yes.
And there are teachers that I don't want to remember them anymore. Okay.
But I think it's fair also to remember some of the special teachers that we had in the past. Even say their names. Do you have any particular teacher that you remember, Ahmed, that you want to say hello?
Well, I want to say thank you so much, Sheikh Hamoud Sawafi. You know, I'm so grateful for this Sheikh. I have learned so much from him, especially when it comes to developing, you know, my personality. You know, he motivated me a lot, you know, to chase my dreams in life. I had the honor to be with him for some time, and I learned so much. So I'm so grateful for him.
I'm also grateful to one of my teachers who taught me at the high school, the 12th grade. Since the beginning, I was very poor in math.
Okay.
And I almost passed on the line. Yeah. And I hated math. And when I moved to the 12th grade, I took this teacher who's Ustad Muhammad Abul Azm, and he taught me math in such a way I really loved the subject.
Wow.
And I almost scored the full mark at the final exam. And I even went further and went to study accountancy because of him.
Wow.
So I salute my teacher, Ustad Muhammad Abul Azm. It's been I don't know, since 95.
Wow.
It's a long time, and I would love to.
You're very old.
I wish if I could see him and kiss his forehead for the service that he.
You're very old, Hatem.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. Okay, you don't have to say it twice.
Anyway, like we need to note something here. What could work maybe in the past might not work nowadays.
Yes.
Because the needs are different, compared to the past and now. So maybe a certain style in the past, was very effective to meet the needs of the society.
What was the style of the past?
Well, for example, like a lot of drilling. Like people will just ask you to do a lot of things, so that you become like a machine. But they will just forget about a lot of things when it comes to developing skills.
Yes.
Okay. How to communicate to people, for example. How to think critically. How to criticize. How to evaluate things around you was a missing thing, actually.
We have a call. Salam alaikum.
Alaikum salam.
How are you, brother?
I'm alright, thank you.
Thank you. Yes, go ahead. Who is this?
This is Hamdi speaking from LNG.
Hi, Hamdi. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Yes, Hamdi. We want to hear your thoughts about today's topic, implementing what we learn in school.
I see. Yes. Well, I heard. I was listening to your program slightly. For me, I put it down to 4 areas.
Yes.
What's school, and of course we know the general when we learn from school, especially at a young age when you first start. For example, myself, I learnt. All my schooling was from UK.
MashaAllah.
And so from childhood until school leaving age, it was all basically there. And learning the way I looked at it was, say, what you learnt at school and what your parents have taught you just when you first start at school.
Yes.
I feel this is quite an important area.
So is there a partnership between the school and the parents? So they are all both working together to educate you or transfer the knowledge to you?
Yes. See, because you tend to learn from your home, domestic learning, and at school, it tends to your learning starts to rotate on your social skills.
Yes.
And on others rather than just on your relatives. You would have your kind of social skills, for example, with your relatives.
Yes.
Where you don't really talk to strangers. So, of course, when you go to school, you're being more exposed on strangers.
So, Hamdi, the things that the things that you learn at school, yeah, were they very relevant to what you're doing at the moment, like your job? Did you feel that you benefited from the education system that you went through?
Yeah, because yes, it varies, but I would say the job what I'm in at the moment, yes, it's
in what way?
Quite a bit on the social, mainly on the social and communicating area. For example, it's not when you're at school, you're forced to speak up and to listen to what the teachers are saying, and you tend to question things, which is all part of learning. So the work environment, you are socializing, and you have to learn, I would say, or if not, especially on new companies, when you start in different companies, is you're actually grasping how they work. So you're learning a system.
Now, Hamdi, for sure you have kids now. Do you think they are very keen towards school and education the same way that you were in the past?
Well, I would say that the schools, because of getting, they're bigger in the classroom, in the private sectors. But yes, the cycle seems to repeat. Maybe slightly different, but the basics and the disciplinary measures, they're the same.
They're the same.
And I agree there. It's like a rotating wheel.
So if you have the capability to change something in the education system, what would that be, Hamdi?
Oh, that's a very good question. My opinion, I'd say to change.
Not to change, like to improve.
Oh, to improve. I would say, to improve, I'd say make their classes slightly smaller than what they are, because now it's roughly about 20 per class, 25 per class. If they could reduce the size of the class.
Okay. Thank you very much, Hamdi, for your contribution to the program.
Thank you.
And please keep on following us.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Nice to end the program.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, I like, what Hamdi was talking about. And I just want to comment on one word that he used in the discussion with you, the idea of being forced.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't know whether this is the right term. I'm sure that he didn't mean that. But I think what we need to do is to develop, the love of knowledge, okay, within the kids, instead of, being forced. Because maybe they are doing it because they have to do it, okay? And as soon as that factor is not around, then they might, lose interest.
Yes.
So you need to make them interested in what they're doing. And that, should be done at different levels, okay, at the house, okay, through the parents, okay, brothers, sisters who are older, and also when it comes to school, okay. So we need to make education, or let's say knowledge, more fun, more entertaining, more attracting, okay, than the way it used to be.
Because students are really looking forward for the holidays more than school.
Exactly.
And some of them really make a big deal of going to school. Yeah, starting at a very early age, like grade 2, grade 3, then you find the kids finding all sorts of excuses not to go to school. While others in some schools, they're really looking forward to go to school. So we're looking towards that link, how to get students to be interested in learning and to be interested in school and wanting to learn more and more and becoming prosperous.
Yeah, I think this is part back to the idea of whether teachers actually doing something about it. Okay, are we really making our classes more interesting, more attractive, let's say more inspiring? Okay, do we involve them in the process of their learning? Like, I'll give you one exercise. Maybe some people might think this is crazy. Like
one of them is me. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, like when it comes, the common belief is that the teacher is the holy source of knowledge.
Yes.
And you cannot question the teacher. So what I do with a lot of my students, we come to the class and we discuss, okay, the syllabus notes.
Yes.
Of that particular class.
Yes.
And I say, do you see any point in learning what we're learning in the class? How can you benefit from what we're learning in this plan in your real life, now and in the future?
Yes.
Because you're paying for this, okay? And I want to make sure that you're really getting what you want.
Yes.
Okay? Some people will say, they are not capable of deciding what is good and what is bad. If we don't create the chance and the platform and the environment for them, then we will not, get them to that stage.
You're actually right, Ahmed, that maybe some of the teachers, they get offended.
Yes.
If the students, for example, challenge in a particular way or argue or have a point of view. I remember having a friend in school this friend was, mashallah, he was a genius, and he had a photographic memory. So whenever he comes to class, and especially the physics and mathematics, so the teacher will do some equations, so he would always raise his hand and say that, no, I don't think that's the best way to do it, and I have a better way. And he proves to the class that there is a better way, but there is always this grudge between the teacher and him. Yeah? And the teacher doesn't really like my friend correcting him or showing easier methods to do thing. Although the student said it very politely, in a very behavioral way, and he did not offend the teacher. But always, I don't know why do we have this ego inside us that, okay, I should be teaching, not you. You shouldn't be telling me what is right and what is wrong. Well,
the society contributes to that.
Okay. In what way?
I'll tell you. Remember, like when we used to have a clash with our teachers, not doing a homework or answering, something, incorrectly and so on. And you go home to complain about, the reaction of the teacher.
Yes.
Maybe the teacher will punish you physically, verbally, name it,
Yes.
So you go back home and to complain about, that particular teacher. What kind of reaction you'll get from your parents?
You deserve it.
You deserve it. And not only that, they will add to that punishment.
Yes.
And not only that, they will get you back to the school, humiliated in front of other people.
Yes.
Or your classmates.
Not listening even to your side of the story.
Exactly. They are not ready because, teachers are holy people. They're always right. And you have to respect them, okay? I'm not saying that we should not respect the teachers.
One of the good memories that I have from school, Ahmed, is that we had a system in school that if one of the students create mischief in class, the law is everyone gets beaten.
Wow.
Yeah? So whether you done it or you haven't done it, as long as you're part of class, then all of you stand up and raise your hands, so that we can show you the taste of it. So I think some of the things that are happening, maybe they might not be right. They are not contributing to the students loving to learn. Yeah, exactly. The environment. Some of them fear the teachers. Some of the teachers just want to deliver the lesson and leave.
Exactly.
Yeah, there's no discussions. There's no listening to the points of view. There's no even praising.
Correct.
Yeah, someone who's always is not an A student. He's a weak student.
Okay.
And one day suddenly he answers a question. You should praise him and give him the encourage him to motivate him.
Correct.
So these are the skills that require in teaching and will develop this love for learning. I don't think no matter how many times we change the education system, the syllabus and everything else, it will never change the perspective of the students, because it is not about only what we learn, it is about how we learn and how the knowledge is delivered to us.
Exactly. And like I was reading about those successful countries, okay, when it comes to ranking among the best kind of schools. Okay.
I think there's something wrong with this. Okay. Yes.
So, and they were talking about the idea of taking care of the teachers, professional development. Yes. So
let us take a short break, and there's something wrong with the sound. Let's take some.
Let us take you on a spiritual journey through our voice this Ramadan in Life as It Is. Explore opportunities and tranquility with the young voices of tomorrow on the Nation Station 90.4 FM from Saturday to Thursday, 1:30 to 2:30 p.m. Engineer Muhammad Farouk, Janab Al-Saida, Maya Al-Said, Ahmed Al-Matani, and Hatim Al-Abdussalam. Call us on 246-02058 or text us at 90406 to explore your potentials like never before. This Ramadan, here on the Nation Station.
You
Back to the show, Life as It Is. Me, Hatem Al-Absalam, and brother Ahmed Al-Muta'ni. And today's topic is implementing what we learn in school. Sorry for the disturbance, there was a technical problem. But now we'll continue with our discussion, and you can always call us on 24602058. 24602058. Where were we, Ahmed?
Yeah, we were talking about,
encouraging students to love.
and so on. And what happens is that we have a stigma.
Yes.
That we create about students, in the class.
Yes.
You come the first day as a teacher, and you assume that, because he did not say anything today, he is stupid, and he will remain stupid for the rest of the semester.
Yes.
Okay, so some teachers would ignore that student, will forget about him. They will not, involve him in a lot of discussions. They will underestimate his abilities. Okay, a very good teacher is a teacher who can find out what is the best learning style of that student, and from there you elevate, his level or her level.
But I think Hamdi mentioned that if you have a big class, congested, especially in the government schools, public schools, you have like 30 or 35 students, it's difficult to cater the needs of every student. We'll come back to this point after taking this call. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
How are you, brother?
Alhamdulillah, I'm very good, thank you. How are you?
I'm fine. Is this Shakil?
Yes, speaking. Yes.
How are you, Shakil?
I'm good. Alhamdulillah, I'm very good, thank you.
It's nice to have you on the show. It's nice to have you on Ramadan Kareem.
Thank you. Ramadan Kareem to you as well.
Shakil, today we're talking about implementing what we learn in school and in general the education system, and how we can encourage our students to love learning and also to learn things that will help them later on in their careers. So you being in the educational system, what do you think of this, Shakil?
I think it's really important for children. I think from my own personal opinion and from a professional point of view, I think it's important that children have a balance, with education, knowledge, and their personal life. Obviously, education is imperative in modern day times, that they need this as an opportunity to get a better job or, further their career opportunities.
Yes.
In terms of education, it's, in today's day and age, it's a very social thing to be a part of as well. In my experience, I see, especially in Muscat, Oman now, where I reside here, that the school environment is quite a social aspect for a lot of the children, and a lot of social interaction takes place. And I think it's really crucial for them to meet and experience different people's views, cultures, and even religions. And just to be a part of that and immerse themselves into it and understand that their lives, obviously they have their own path and other people have their own path. And they're going to meet people and they're going to come in their lives and go out of their lives. But I think the grounding of education is always that base and that fundamental part of their life that they need to build on, in each stage.
In your point of view, Shakil, as you're in the education system, what are some of the challenges that your students are facing in terms of learning? Are they very happy and keen in learning, or do you feel that they are forced, or do you think that something can be done to improve the systems?
Again, Hatem, I mean, we spoke personally as well, but I think again it's the balance. The parents have to understand that the children are a sponge, and they will learn at home as much as they will learn in their school environment.
Yes.
And whatever they see, whatever they listen to, they will replicate, and it's learned behavior. And I think in the school environment, sometimes the children excel in a different light to what their parents' expectations are, whether it's a higher sense of achievement or a lower sense of achievement. I mean, for me as a professional, it doesn't really matter. It's about attitude and effort for me. If the student, the learner wants to learn, it's about their attitude and how they apply themselves. It doesn't matter whether they're A-star student or the below average student. It's, how they conduct themselves within the school environment and themselves, their responsibility within the classroom, outside of the classroom, at break time, after school activities, getting on the bus, how they are on the bus going home. If they're jumping around like animals in the zoo, then you know, having responsibility to the bus driver in the school and the representation of the school name.
Yes,
but
exactly.
I think talking about the actual learning, I think there's a very pleasant environment, especially in my school. I won't plug the school, but I think there's not a swinging mentality, but a slight change in the attitude of the younger parents coming through, that we realize that education is an opportunity and a way forward to, let's say, a better standard of living, a more rounded quality of life. Not in terms of material things, but just in terms of that you get to travel the world for education, whether you get a scholarship or whether you pay privately to go to the US or to the United Kingdom. There are different opportunities, and I think it's important that I think education is a real grounding, a real base, a foundation for the children to not just educate themselves, but to, you know, sort of progress as a human being and understand themselves and what they like. I mean, in our environment, our push is leadership. One of our main ethos principles is leadership, and how them as an individual can recognize their qualities, which are enhancing, and which qualities are maybe in weak areas where they can push themselves and strive to be stronger in that particular area. And I think, and the person I feel, children are comfortable in this environment to do that. Obviously, there's pressure from the parents sometimes for them to study hard. There's a culture here different to mine in the UK, that they go home from school, they have a full day, and then they go home to tutoring, and then they have homework, and then it's maybe do some prayers, do salah, shower, eat, and sleep. And I think there seems to be a larger capacity of pressure, sort of peer pressure, in my experience. And that's one of the things that we talk about in school as well. We address these issues, that the exams, they are very crucial and they are important. But also, it's important about finding a balance, you know. We want them to learn because they want to learn,
Shakil,
not because we're, you know.
Yeah. I don't know whether this concept is very, common in the UK, but there's something called, you know, like conferences for parents, where parents are invited to come to the schools, where they see their kids, you know, learning, and they interact with them, and even sometimes they become the source of knowledge. They become the teachers, or sometimes, you know, they act as listeners, you know, for their kids. The kids will be the teachers, and that developed, you know, this kind of culture among a lot of parents to come and see, first of all, their kids, you know, achieving, you know, something. They feel very proud to see their kids, you know, doing a lot of work and you know, doing the role of the teacher. They're sharing their projects, their assignments, with the people who are around there. So is it a common thing? Because we don't have this, you know, like here in Oman. And I wish, you know, we could see this, you know, more.
One of the initiatives that we're going to put forward next year in our school, we're going to try this. We did it sort of briefly as a pilot scheme, where it's like a buddy system where the parents are openly invited to attend the classes, and sort of they're not active in the learning, but they just sit and absorb what's going on, the environment, and you know how their child's performing. We look at their child's performance before, during, and after. And it's not necessarily the discipline or the back, as we say. It's actually across the board in a sense of achievement and how we can progress. And we have a very open door policy in our school that the parents can make an appointment. They come and speak to the tutors, to the subject teacher, to the head of year, the principal. And I think slowly the attitudes are changing, and the parents are starting to understand that we don't just send the kids to our nice private schools or to the government schools and collapse, that's it. They've had their breakfast on the bus, on the taxi, off they go. They're coming in, and parents are taking a proactive, you know, stance in their child's education, and they're really eager to understand, where can my child develop? Where can he progress or she progress? And the kind of thing that you're mentioning is something that we would welcome, and we are looking at doing this kind of thing. Again, with the leadership activities and the ethos that we have within the school, I think it's a very positive thing for the young people of Oman. Not just education as well. I mean, I know the subject matter is education, but I think beyond education, when they go out into college and university, it becomes more of a social aspect and how to interact with each other, you know, manners, etiquette, etc. And I think in the schools now, there's a greater understanding that there's a big responsibility in school to learn the basics before they go out into the big wide world.
Correct.
And I think parents can also learn from their children when they see them in that environment that, wow, little Ahmed or Sarah, she's not actually like this at home. She's totally introvert at home, or she's, really loud and outgoing at home, but she's like a little mouse in the classroom. And I think it can only bring positive change and positive sort of direction towards education if parents and teachers and students are involved together.
And I think, Brother Shakil, also there is a kind of myth that schools is responsible for this kind of job. Teachers, parents are not supposed to do that because they didn't have a degree in teaching, for example. And let's say, like I'm an engineer as a parent, I don't have the skills, to teach my kid. But sometimes, you can do little things which could really inspire a kid, okay? You can share your own personal experience, how you excelled or achieved, exceptionally when you were a student. These kind of, sharing sessions from time to time can develop, a sense of understanding which style as a kid I should adopt based on my capabilities, my knowledge, and so on. There's a big emphasis nowadays on the skills. A lot of people think about, not only knowledge-based or content-based, approach, but we need to move towards the idea of skills,
leadership skills,
digital literacy. There are about 8 kind of skills needed, nowadays. Communication, for example, how we communicate to each other. Sometimes, we fail to understand each other because we lack, the best way of communication. Another thing is nowadays is highly welcome is what we call it emotional intelligence. And it's required by almost all the companies, employers. Okay, they check on your abilities and so on. And the idea of being a global citizen, because this culture that I will live by myself or the people I know is not sticking around, for quite a long time nowadays. People are exposed to different cultures. They interact with people from different faiths, from different, backgrounds and so on. So a lot of very, keen employers will look into whether you're globally prepared, to meet people from different cultures or not. And I guess also the one of the skills that we need to focus on and maybe embedded in our educational system is the idea of problem solving. A lot of kids, are trained to be cognitively ready, but we don't focus on the idea of moving to the higher level thinking skills like evaluation, analyzing, synthesizing, and so on. We just focus on knowledge, understanding, and application of that knowledge. So we need to move towards, the higher level thinking skills.
I just wanted to add one more thing, Shakil, and maybe you can help us on this, is that many parents might not have that vision for their children. When it comes to education, they don't really know what they want for the future of their children. So when it comes to choosing the right school for your child, what is happening at the moment is the word of mouth. So you speak to a relative and they will say that, okay, this school is good, and my kids are there, so why don't you bring your kids to this school? And then after 6 months you find out that school is not, appropriate for your child, or your child is not really learning, and then you move to another school. So it becomes a dilemma for the child moving from one school to another. And this is very common in Oman. People keep on changing schools every single year. So as a parent, Shakil, how do we choose the right school for our children?
I think that's a really good question, and it's a big observation that I've noticed as a British expat, that there seems to be a high turnover of children that come. They try the new international school, or they go back to the government school, and they bounce from school to school. We had an open dialogue with some of the young people at school, and we discussed their fears and thoughts about education. And one of them was the consistency or the lack of consistency, Hatem, that they have actually being stable in one school. Like, the parents, we had one girl, for example, she was in tears at the end of the year because her mother said she wasn't happy that her child didn't get A star, for example. But the child was a B star, A stroke student, and she had come on leaps and bounds in terms of social development, interaction, the shyness, the self-confidence. She'd really sort of flowered as a young woman, you know. She'd gone from sort of 12 to 13, and she'd just really developed. But the mother had this idea that X school was better because her cousin's sister recommended it, and it is a cultural thing, and it is
it's affecting our children.
It is, we have to give it more than one academic year in a school. Yes. You can't measure, in my opinion, a child's academia on one academic year, 9 months. You know?
But if it's the first time you're approaching a school for your child, it's like a KG or grade 1. How do you know that this is the best school for my child? Again, what are the things that you should be looking into?
Again, Hatem, you know, you have to look at the standards that the school set in. You have to speak to the principal, even to the board directors, to the chair people, to the teachers, the people that are actually going to be physically interacting and taking care of your child. For majority of the time, you know, we spend more time with the children than the parents do in educational terms. And you have to just make an appointment, go and speak to the teachers, ask them very direct questions. What is your discipline procedure if my child did this? How are you going to implement phonics for my child? And, you know, you have to, as a parent myself, you don't always know everything that the child wants or what the school has to offer and how they're going to find the balance. But as a human being, I think it's important that as a parent that we find out the essence of the people that are teaching our children.
You know,
what facilities do you offer? Is there after-school activities? Do you offer a netball team? Do you do stitching for the girls, makeup, whatever, swimming, etc.?
Yeah.
You know, I think there's a big responsibility on the parents that they have to find out as much information for the child. And also, just to add to that, Hatem, again, our school, we have a very open door policy.
Yeah.
The amount of people that just come and visit, we have open. Bring the children in. Let them feel they're the best ones that will tell on their gut instinct, on the vibe that they feel. They can come in for taster days.
Yeah.
Spend time in a classroom. Have a walk around the school. Come 2-3 times. Do an entrance exam. Meet the teachers. Meet the head of departments. And ultimately, at the end of the day, you're only going to really find out once you enter the school and you start working and you start start studying.
Yeah.
But as a parent, like what you're saying, the responsibility is with the parents. But they also have to give the child the opportunity as well to express their emotion and feel on a particular school or the educational establishment.
And if I may add, at the same time, you know, like a lot of parents, you know, have certain expectations and they want to see these expectations on their kids. Yeah. Well, their kids, you know, might be different from the parents. So you cannot, you know, base your own personal experience, you know, on your kid. Maybe you're a scientifically oriented person, but your kid is not. So you cannot just, you know, say, you know, what worked for me will work, you know, for my kid. You need to see, you know, his potentials, his interests, and so on. And you need to guide him, you know. Of course, we'll have...
That's exactly what you're saying. I concur. I totally agree. Everyone's an individual, and we all have our own individual needs. And generally, children, you know, they want to emulate what their father is, a doctor, an engineer, or a teacher, or, you know, a laborer or something. And we want to make our parents proud. Yeah. But ultimately, we shouldn't live in their shadow either, you know. Even me as my mom, you know, she's very proud of me, mashallah. But there's sometimes I look at her and I think, maybe did I achieve what my mom really wanted from me? And I think it's, you know, as a parent and as a grown-up, we have to really take a huge responsibility in saying, look, son, look, daughter, this is what I've been. I did this as a child. I did this in my college years. I did this. And explain it to them nicely and say, I want what's best for you. Not, I want you to be a doctor. I want you to be this. And pigeonhole them. And put them in the pressure. I think children should be given the right to express their feelings and their career choice. You know, if they want to be a space cadet, then okay, let's send them to NASA. You know, push them and promote them. If it's not going to work, then, you know, try your best. And I think that's the main thing. But I mean, in terms of real academia, if someone shows a real passion for science or nanotechnology or something, then there are gifted and talented children that we do push and we do promote and we do network with the right institutes to get them, to complete a bachelor's, master's, PhD, diploma.
Brother Shakil, thank you very much for your input and contribution to the program. I'm afraid we have another 15 minutes to wrap up, so thank you very much. And we're looking forward to hear more from you throughout the month, inshallah.
Shukran.
Assalamu alaikum.
I think now we need to talk about creativity, yeah? Mm-hmm. Well, remember when I was talking about the idea of involving my students about...
Before that, Ahmed, before Shakil's call, you were going through statistics, about education. Please go through that and then say whatever you want.
Yeah, actually, I was trying to check, upon the best countries in terms of education systems. Mm-hmm. And for my surprise, actually,
yes,
I found that the first 4 countries,
on the list. And where is this from? What are the statistics?
And this is according to an educational organization, the UNESCO. Mm-hmm. And they were talking about, believe it or not, the first 4 countries are from Asia.
MashaAllah.
So we're talking about South Korea. Mm-hmm. We're talking about Japan. We're talking about Singapore. And we're talking about the 4th country is Hong Kong.
MashaAllah.
And they're like the first 4 countries. And then
in terms of education.
Correct. So this is according to the examined in the report. And then we have Finland, we have UK, Canada, Netherlands, Ireland, and Poland. So out of the 10 first countries, we have 4 countries from Asia. And this brings us to the idea of the way we look at experiences around us.
Things are changing.
Things are changing.
Yeah.
We always tend to think that the West, Europe and America
is leading in terms of
education. And there is a lot of anger actually in the West nowadays because education is really lacking behind. And I like this energy that people are not happy, because they used to export knowledge to people. People used to go to America, to UK and so on. And now, things are changing. So, yeah, there's a call.
Yes, we have a call. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Ahlan. This is Reem.
Reem, how are you?
Alhamdulillah. I know you have a few minutes, so I'll make my just a quick contribution.
Sure.
From my personal experience, looking back at my childhood in the schools, because I've personally experienced, school system in different countries. And in total, I've been in 10 different schools.
MashaAllah.
Because of moving around. Some schools I've been in for 1 semester, others a year or 2 years. And if I look at that experience and I would sum that what made the most impact is when the teacher goes beyond the textbook, beyond feeding information, and actually even shared examples. There's a human approach to the teaching process. And when there's also different ways of learning in terms of there's a project we have to do or an activity, that engages us and that brings our talents as well. And what I've noticed is there might be a school that has an excellent reputation, but if you end up with a teacher that's not so good, it can actually make you not like that subject. Otherwise, you might go to a school that might be considered average, but you ended up being with a great teacher in that class and makes you really love the subject. So this goes back to you might have a great system and process, but also the quality of the teacher in that classroom environment. And what I've noticed is that a very important thing is to instill in us the value, the quality of being a life learner. Because, information academically evaporates sometimes when you graduate. Information changes. But if the teacher instilled in me that love of learning, then I continue to take that with me as a life skill.
Exactly. MashaAllah, this is great.
That's where I saw the most impact. I've been in classes where the teacher is just dictating, we're sitting back, we can't wait.
We've all been there.
We're creating paper airplanes. And there's classes where we're actually paying attention and we feel we're part of it.
Exactly.
MashaAllah.
I would totally agree with you, Reem. And this is back to the how we actually as the planners or people who are in charge of education, look at how we hire actually teachers, okay? And I mean by, like teaching used to be a kind of a job or a major where people, I would say losers, would opt for when they don't find anything, they would just go to the College of Education, okay, to graduate as teachers. But actually in a lot of countries like Japan, for example, you have to go through a lot, in order to be qualified as a teacher.
You have to be a high flyer to be a teacher.
Exactly, because first of all, you get, like paid well. You have to meet the standards, okay, the needs of the society and so on. And you're willing to cope with the changes happening around you. So, but unfortunately, in a lot of Middle Eastern countries, teaching profession is not valued as it should be. And this is why there are a lot of students who are suffering or struggling from not being exposed to the right level of knowledge, okay, at the right time, whether the teacher can interfere at the right time or not. Actually, teachers, they're doctors, okay, they're counselors. They need to know what kind of treatment.
The students.
Yes.
Exactly. Otherwise, we will end up, having a generation of losers. And then we should not complain a lot.
Thank you so much, Reem, for your contribution. Thank you so
for
much.
This excellent topic. Thank you. Have a lovely day.
Yeah, you too.
Nice. So Ahmed, I think we've had lots of information today.
Correct.
And we've learned a lot from our callers. All of them have contributed in a very positive way. And some of the things I didn't even know. And today it was a learning for me.
Yeah.
So I hope all our listeners have enjoyed today's session. But we need to wrap up and give the conclusion. But before that, you wanted to mention something about the statistics that you presented.
Yeah, and sadly enough, okay, we were ranked, at the bottom of the list.
We as Oman.
Yeah, as Oman, okay. We were 72 out of 77.
Subhanallah.
Yeah, so we were leading the last 5.
Is this statistics accurate? How is it done? Is it done on a random basis?
Yes.
On a random basis.
It's done on a random basis because they want to try to avoid, the idea of nominating, certain students and so on. And we're talking about math, reading, and science. Okay.
Yes.
And so they found that, we struggle. Okay. And anyway, it doesn't mean this is the end of the world.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this is maybe a waker for the people.
Wake up call.
Yes, for the people who are in charge of education here in the country. We are here not to criticize, but just in order to share some of the thoughts and some of the ideas.
Yes.
That people are saying about our education system, and how can we go forward from here? Okay, this is not a chance to criticize people, but we are just saying that we need to do more work, and
we always want our country to be a shining star on the map. Yeah, we always want to be better than others.
Exactly.
We want to proceed and success in our education system.
Why do we have to send all the time our kids outside? We want to see people coming to Oman.
Yes.
We need also to make use of the idea of the peaceful environment that Oman has. So why don't we really work on that so that we attract more people to come here and learn about the beauty of this country? And I just wanted. You want to talk about creativity?
Yes,
a concept.
I just don't want to leave today's show without mentioning the last point in our agenda, which is creativity is rejected.
Correct.
This is very common in schools that students who are very bright, who are intelligent, they're not given the right approach. Like the story that I told you about my friend, and I even went through the same problem with my daughter in one of the schools, that I was asked to come to school, and I went to meet the teacher who is teaching my daughter, and then she was complaining. She said that whenever we are doing a task in class, your daughter is done with that task and is doing the task for the next day. And I said I didn't understand first, and I said, where's the problem? And he said, no, we have to work as a team together. we cannot allow her to do extra work, to go ahead beyond the today's class. And so I said, I thought this is something good. Yeah, I thought this is something good.
You know, underestimation culture. You know, we have a problem. Okay, in underestimating, you know, these students or these kids' abilities. Mm-hmm. You know, such a kid should be encouraged, should be motivated, you know. Yes. And actually, in there's a new approach nowadays called, you know, flipped classroom. Yes. Where all the materials will be uploaded to the students ahead of time. Yes. And they can go through the materials the time they want. They don't have to stick to the pace of the teacher of the classroom, and the teacher will be ready, you know, to deal with all these individual differences. Yes. Because at the end of the day, okay, you will not be able to graduate all the students as scientists. Okay, yes. But a special care should be given to these students, and I think when we have these kind of approaches that develop creativity and critical thinking among our students and our kids, then, you know, we'll be able to have a lot of scientists and, you know, a lot of people who can contribute to the society here in Oman and also to humanity.
The other thing that I wanted to mention, Ahmed, for today is to have counselors in schools. Mm-hmm. We might have counselors in schools, but are they effective? Me as a student, if I have a problem with my teacher, I can't understand, or I'm a slower learner, or I have any issues with the teacher, I should be able to go to someone who is independent and seek advice. You know, I might be good at math, but I don't know what path should I continue with. Mm-hmm. So I should go to a counselor who could guide me and tell me what is the right things to do, who could, you know, share some points about my strength or my weaknesses. So the role of a counselor is very vital in a school. Yeah. And I hope this is being implemented in our schools today. Yeah.
In addition to that one, you know, also you need to make use of the students who are excelling in their studies. Those who are doing really well. Yeah. You need to get them involved in helping other students. Yes. And this is, you know, back to the idea of teamwork, because that will develop, you know, this quality which is actually needed in the real world. Yes. Okay, so if we ask, you know, those students who are doing well to help other students who are struggling, then you develop this kind of teamwork culture. Okay, in addition that we should also have, you know, counselors. And in fact, teachers should be able to identify these problems from the beginning. They should be counselors. In addition to the counsel that we have in, you know, where they want to talk about psychological problems, social problems, financial problems, and so on. But teachers need to be really equipped with the needed skills when it comes to counseling on the spot, because you need to interfere sometimes at a specific time, because it might be too late if you don't interfere at the specific time.
I would like to mention the name of one of the schools here in Muscat, and I mention it for a reason. The school is Ahmed bin Majid Private School. Mm-hmm. I've had personal interaction with the school. I've had students from them in one of my shows, and I found something very, very important that they have. They have an award for excellence in morals and ethics. Wow. Yeah. When you award your students not for only educational excellence, but also in ethical and moral, because people differ, or students differ in their abilities. Some of them excel very fast in their studies. Some of them, they have other areas that they are excelling more than the A students. So you should also recognize those students who are excelling in their morals, in their conduct, who are supportive, who are team members, who are, you know, helping out the school in all activities. So we should recognize those students as well. It's not about only the A students.
Yes, you know, like you're right. Okay, I mean, we need to focus on the idea of ethics, morals. Okay, because these are tools that drive us, you know, from time to time. Okay, when we know that it is very important to learn because this is part of our teachings and culture and so on, then we'll be driven towards, you know, like excelling in our studies and so on.
Ahmed, I wish we could continue forever with this topic, but I think we're running out of time. Correct. And we don't even have time to summarize what we've learned in this today's show. But we promise to post on our Facebook Life as it is all the points that we have learned from today's show, from our callers and from the notes that we have. So see you tomorrow, inshallah. Any idea what's tomorrow's topic? I totally forgot.
Well, I don't know, to tell you the truth.
Okay, never mind.
Yeah, I think it's Maya tomorrow. If you give me a second, I can figure out.
Yes, what's the show tomorrow?
It's Single Parent.
Single Parent. So tomorrow we have a special show with Sister Maya Al Saeed about single parenting. So please tune in for tomorrow from 1 to 2:30. For today, from me, Hatim Al Absalam, and my brother Ahmed Al-Matani. See you then. Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam wa rahmatullah.
Never think of change. Be the change. Thank you for being a part of this amazing journey. Life as it is. Here on the Nation Station, Radio Sultan of Oman, 90.4 FM.